Hello and welcome to Habas Kitchen. This recipe video is part of our Veganuary series. We've created the series to help you cook delicious vegan food with no fuss, easy to find ingredients. Each recipe is simple, healthy and should only take around 30 minutes to make. Today's recipe is Beet Kofta Curry. Before we get started, we'd be very grateful if you could like this video, subscribe to our channel and turn on the notifications so that you can see all of our future videos. We enjoy this recipe because the kofta balls are actually really healthy. Made with beetroot and lentils, they're lightly spiced and have just the right consistency to eat. Think of them as Indian meatballs. The curry sauce is delicious. It's somewhere between korma and tikka in terms of thickness and spice, but it can easily be adjusted to your taste. Accompanied by the lightly spiced potatoes with spinach, known as Saag Aloo, this is a very satisfying and filling Indian style meal. So moving on to the ingredients. For the beetroot, be sure to buy the cooked type and not the raw or pickled. It's usually sold in vacuum sealed packaging. It should be quite easy to find. For the lentils, use them from a tin. Do note though that this is not a whole tin's worth in this recipe, so there will be some spare. Other than that, with the coconut milk, if you want a nice thick creamy sauce, be sure to use the full fat tinned coconut milk. Now there's a list of items which we'll need to make this recipe. We need a large saucepan with a lid, a large frying pan, a steamer and either a food processor or a blender. Now if you don't have a large blender or food processor, then you should get away with just using a smoothie blender. You'll also need a sheet of grease-proof paper. Before preparing the veg, add some water to your steamer and begin boiling. You'll probably need both tiers of your steamer to accommodate all of the kofta balls that we're going to steam. Next, cut strips of grease-proof paper to fit in your steamer pots. I use 2 strips per pot. It depends on the size of your steamer. These will be used to steam the kofta balls. Now it's time to start preparing the food. Just heat 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil in your saucepan over a medium heat and start to chop the veg. So for the onion, it just needs to be roughly diced. And then either grate or finely chop the garlic. And cut the potato into bite-sized chunks. We leave the skin on. Feel free to peel the potatoes if you prefer. Once they're chopped, add the onions and garlic to the saucepan and just stir fry for 3 to 4 minutes. Once they're softened, remove half that mixture and just set it aside in a bowl. Return the rest to the heat and then start to add the coriander, cumin and turmeric. Give that all a good stir to combine. Just make sure all the onions coated before adding the potatoes. Again, give that a good stir just to spread everything around. At this point you need to add 150 ml of water, that's for 2 people, and then just add the half a stock cube and allow that to dissolve. Once that's simmering, cover the saucepan with the lid and just leave it for 10 minutes. It's a good idea to set yourself a timer for 10 minutes as we're going to remove the lid after that time. While the potatoes are boiling, start to add your kofta ball ingredients to your food processor. So that's the beetroot, the oats, the flour, the lentils, don't forget to measure those out, and then your herbs and spices. Start to move the coriander, then the turmeric, and then the curry powder. Attach that to your base unit and then blend those ingredients. I usually blend this for between 30 and 60 seconds. Obviously the time will depend on how powerful your blender or food processor is. At times you may need to scrape down the sides of your container. Just use a wooden spoon to loosen everything, reattach the lid and continue processing until you have a thick paste. Most of the oats at this point should be ground, although there will be some flakes remaining. Once blended, we're going to roll out the koftas. So using a tablespoon, scoop out slightly less than a tablespoon of mixture and roll it into a ball using the palms of your hands. It does help to have slightly wet hands to do this, although don't go too over the top, as if the koftas get too wet they won't hold their form. I usually find this mixture makes about 10 balls or 10 koftas, so that's 5 per person. So as you can see, I'm laying those out on the greaseproof paper, ready to go into the steamer. Add them to the steamer and cover for about 5 minutes. While the koftas are steaming, heat some oil in your large frying pan over a medium heat. Then switching back to the potatoes, by now it should be about 10 minutes, so you can remove the lid and just check that the knife slides in and out. And if it does, you can then add the spinach. Obviously if it doesn't, just give it a few more minutes. And then just lightly stir to combine the spinach with all those juices, and that should allow the spinach to wilt. Then just leave that uncovered for another 5 to 10 minutes until all of those juices have almost entirely boiled off. When the koftas have steamed, they should have firmed up nicely. You can see here they're firm and springy, they hold their form and they're ready to be fried. So by now the frying pan should be up to heat, so you can add those straight from the steamer into the frying pan. I'll use a pair of tongs and fry them for about 3 minutes. It's important to keep them moving during this time. You can either stir them, or my preference is to just gently shake the pan so that they don't stick. What we're trying to do here is just brown them off, just sort of sealing their sort of outer face, creating a hard skin. When the koftas are browned, add the reserved onion and garlic mixture to the pan. Also add the tomato puree and the tandoori curry powder. Immediately give everything a stir and keep stirring continuously for a further 2 minutes. Next, add the coconut milk. Stir it all again, mixing the white coconut milk with the spices and the tomato puree to create a vibrant orange curry colour. Add in the remaining half of the stock cube, and again just combine that and continue cooking for a further 5 minutes. The sauce should start to bubble, as you can see here. This will help the sauce thicken and intensify the flavour, and you should end up with a nice thick creamy curry sauce. Both the curry and the Saag Aloo should be ready to serve at the same time. You can spoon them each straight onto plates, the potatoes on one side and the curry on the other. As I said, I aim for 5 koftas per person. You can pour the remaining sauce over them once they're on the plate. This meal will keep in the fridge, but only for a day or so. We've tried to make the quantities so that you can easily scale them up or down. So that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I encourage you to have a go at making this curry. It really is delicious. We'd appreciate any feedback in the comments section down below. Remember to like and subscribe. Also follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.